And with that, I often get asked, well, what makes a good ESOP candidate? What are the, what do you look for or listen for or see when I'm speaking with somebody and say, there are meetings I walk out and I can walk out and say, those folks are not ESOP candidates, and there are folks I walk in and say, boy, I'll be surprised if I'm not talking to them the following week. And by the way, the first I'm going to put, these are company attributes. The first thing I'm going to put that's not on this list is when I hear people talking about the word legacy, I know I'm probably in the right room because people are trying to balance multiple concerns. They're not simply doing an algebraic calculation. But good companies from a technical point of view for ESOPs typically are a little less cyclical, slow to medium growth companies. Very high growth companies consume a lot of capital, have a lot of other goals and ambitions besides, sort of preservation, steady as she goes. They may or may not be good candidates. Boom and bust companies are probably not good ESOP candidates. They may not be good candidates for much of anything sometimes, but boom and bust companies are tough. We're really looking for stable cash flow because the idea in an ESOP is we're going to use the internal cash flow of the company ultimately to fund the exit strategy, whether that is through direct payment for stock to the former shareholders or indirectly by retiring leverage in connection with the purchase of stock. Typically, the owners of good ESOP candidates are folks with a longer-term horizon. These are not folks who are, give me a big chunk of money today so I can be out tomorrow. ESOPs tend to be, as I tend to call them, barbecue buyouts, lower and slower. They move a little bit more slowly. They're designed to be phased exits rather than out the door tomorrow kinds of exits. So when I talk to somebody who says, I really want to retire tomorrow, I want to be out, I need, to have, this is my nest egg, I need it in cash, and there's a real prospect of them selling it for cash, they're really in the wrong church. They ought to be talking to the M&A folks and the folks who sell businesses for a living to gain that cash. As I said, ownership groups that are concerned about employees' long-term future of the company, motivated by legacy concerns. And finally, really often the lack of cash strategic buyers willing to pay a significant premium. I've had a number of situations where folks would like to do an ESOP. They think it's a great tool, great attributes, all of that. But when somebody from the outside world is offering a 20, 30, 50% premium over the valuation that one can support with the existing cash flow of the company, we can debate whether that's a smart thing or a bad thing, but 90% of the time people will decide to take that premium one way or another, and arguably often they should. So that's a hallmark to us of somebody who may be a wonderful company but probably isn't going to end up as an ESOP company. I have a few exceptions to that where people have strong other goals. And again, if I check off the list, if you view this as a 6-point list, most of the ESOP companies we work with at least hit 4 on the list. I mean, it may not be that everybody hits all 6 on the list, but typically they're hitting at least a decent part of this.